Hey, this is Jerry. We're here at Chidester Baptist Church, and we just finished a camera and audio system here, and we're just going to walk you through it really quick. When we first walk in, one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to hit our main master power switch right here on the Juice Goose, and that's going to power up everything in our audio rack as well as our console. Likewise, when we power it off, it's going to sequence everything off in the right order so that there's not any pops or anything like that in the speakers like we sometimes experience. Here in the rack, the first thing up from the Juice Goose is our power amplifier. There's really no control involved in this, but it's doing its job. Right under it is our two-space equipment drawer, which is hard to open with one hand, and it has all of our microphones, remotes, and all of that kind of stuff in it. Above the amplifier is our media player. This media player will actually play several different formats. It'll play from a CD, a USB thumb drive, an SD card, auxiliary input, and it'll also play from AM, FM, or Bluetooth. And so all of those connections are present here on the front. It's a slot style CD player. And then our first button on here that says media, that's our most important button because that actually lets us scroll between all of the different sources. When I find the source that I want, the last thing on here is the next most important. That's how we select it or enter it. You can scroll through devices that have already previously been connected to this unit by hitting the next button, which is device select. And then we can twist this last one to find the one that find our phone or whatever we're connecting to it, and then press enter. We have 4 wireless microphones attached to the system, and we've got them color-coded yellow, blue, red, and green, and the receivers are right here. Our handheld transmitters are right under here. All of those microphone antennas are fed through this amplifier here, and the antennas are mounted in the window, so we should be able to avoid dropouts that way. Okay, the digital console is probably going to be the biggest jump for us from what we previously had. You can see that we only have 8 sliders, but there's 16 things connected to this thing. So there's 2 what they call layers to it. And so the first layer is 1 through 8. And then and you can see our buttons right here under where it says fader bank, 1 through 8. And then if I hit 9 through 16, now these are 9 through 16. So that's how they're able to locate 16 inputs in only 8 faders. They're motorized, they have memory, so they remember, they stay where you put them, even when you're switching in between the 2 fader banks. So all of our inputs here are labeled, right here at the top, color-coded and labeled. Input 1 through 5 is stage connections. All of those stage connections are labeled with the same numbers. And then choir is on number 6. And choir right now is turned down, and the inputs on the stage are kind of turned up and ready to go. If we go over to 9 through 16, this changes as well. We've got yellow wireless, blue wireless, red wireless, green wireless. And then over here we've got the CD and the computer. CD is the unit that we were just looking at, the media player. And then computer is anything that we're playing from the computer itself. Those are our inputs. Now let's look at the outputs. For the outputs, let's go up to the touch screen here, and we can see that we've got some effects and whatever, but then we've named some things. Here's wedges, stream, and fellowship, which of course is the fellowship hall. Our wedges, if we go to wedges, the entire mixer becomes dedicated to that output. So just like we've been mixing for the mains and for the house, now everything we do is adjusting volume levels for each input in the wedges on the stage. Likewise, if we go to stream, everything that I do now is for the output that goes to Facebook or whatever we're streaming to over here. Fellowship, by the same token, is the output that's going to the two speakers, one in the nursery, one in the fellowship hall. And we can turn that up or down here, put different things. It makes the mix a little bit different than the house if we want to, but that's that output. Now, if I have any of these, this band across here, this is fellowship. Now it's green, it says stream. Yellow, it says wedges. If I have any of those present on the screen, and then I am not mixing for the house, I'm mixing for that. And so I have to make sure that I come here to exit. Now I'm back on the house. And now everything that I do is for the house system. So, right there. Okay. Another thing to keep in mind is the red slider that says main is the main, right now, is the main volume, master volume for the house. However, if I am in one of these other outputs, this is the main master volume level for that output now. And you can see that's why it moves a little bit when I go through the different things. That's because it is dedicated, just like the other ones, it's a dedicated master volume for whatever output I've selected. If I want to record the service, anything that's going on, to the audio to a flash drive, then all I have to do is go up here to this little thing that looks like a cassette tape and click on there. And I have these buttons here. I have volume levels for everything, but I can hit the record button, and just like the old tape decks, I'm not recording. The counter hasn't moved until I hit play as well. And so I'm going to hit both of those now. I've started recording, and you can see that I've got signal coming in from the music. And whenever it's done, whenever I'm done recording, I go and hit stop, and I'm done. And I can actually pull that out and take it somewhere else, or I can play it back from here as well, just like a cassette recorder would do. But I can archive each message that way. I can bring it over to my computer if I want to and drag it into a folder and keep everything safe there. But that's a good way to keep audio recordings of services. The benefit of having a digital console is to be able to save all of the settings, and if everything gets messed up, we can come back and we can reload those settings and everything goes back to the way it was. So to do that, we've got a gear icon right here that we'll push, and you can see this upper left, it says save load. And so if I like the settings the way they are, I can go there and it shows everything in here. Those are the things I've just recorded, the .wav files. But I've got something I've already set up on this flash drive. It's Bensberg initial mixer setting, and I can save it there. Replace it, and it's saved. And so now what I can do is I can actually change everything and go to this setting and load it. Load. It's loading, and you can see that everything will go back to the way it was. And then of course all of these you can just hit the X just like on Windows and get out of it and go back to your home screen. If you get into something and you don't know where you're at and you're a panic button, you have a home button right here that you can hit, and it'll take you back to this screen. Okay, we've installed a 12 by PTZ camera right here above the rear display. The camera comes into our switcher right here. Input 1, that's marked camera, and from there it's fed into the PC where we can live stream, record, whatever we want to do with it. Likewise, there is an output from the computer It's the same one that feeds our displays up front for easy worship and things like that. That comes into input 2 so that I can show what's on the screens for the live stream as well. Now to control our camera, we have this HuddleCam HD camera controller. Our camera is a PTZ camera, which stands for pan, tilt, zoom. And so I've got a joystick here, and I can actually move that camera around, down, to the right, and I can twist it counterclockwise to zoom out, clockwise to zoom in, and I can control it that way. But a much easier way to go about it is to actually use the preset buttons. So I've got 10 different presets that I can set on this numeric keypad, and how I do that is I get the camera in the position that I want, and I click on set, the number that I want to save it as, and enter, and that's it. Once I push enter, it's recorded under that button, that number. And so you can see I've got some recorded already. If I click 1, is one scene. I'm going to click 2. And it automatically goes to where I saved. I think I recorded 6 as the baptism. So everything is pre-recorded that way, and you can actually go through the service with just going down the line with the different scenes and stuff like that. So that's handy that way. One thing to keep in mind with the camera controller is that it will control up to 7 different cameras. We only have 1. And so if this is on camera 2, it'll say cam 2. Up here you can see cam 2. We have to make sure it's on 1. If we don't have control of the camera, one of the first things we want to check probably is come over here and make sure that we've selected camera 1. We've got OBS Studio installed on the computer, and what OBS does is allows you to stream, record, do a lot of cool stuff. But you can see we've got our camera feed in here, and if we use our switcher here and go over to the computer feed, there's the computer. That's actually the 3rd display, the same one that we see on the TVs. And we can switch back, and OBS allows us to record and stream to Facebook, YouTube, just wherever we have an account. The computer is set up with 3 displays. You only see 2 in front of you, but this is monitor 1, monitor 2. Monitor 3 is actually the TVs, the 3 TVs that are in the sanctuary. So if I drag my mouse actually from one across to the other, when I pass the right of the second one, it'll show up on the TVs and go across the TV. So now we've set Easy Worship up so that it will display when we go into live. Our presentation actually will show up on the 3rd display every time. That leaves us 2 displays here just for organizing our windows in any way that we want to. Like we had mentioned about the main power switch here for the audio system, that powers on and off anything associated with the audio. However, the video equipment is not on a power switch, and so most video equipment is designed to be powered on permanently. However, the reason that we don't have a lot of the video stuff in with the sequencer is because we don't want to automatically power off and kill our computer without shutting it down. And so the computer and everything is just connected straight into a surge suppression here on the base. And so we can actually work on the computer, do a lot of that stuff without having the PA system and everything powered on at the same time. Here on the back of the rack, you'll notice 3 different things. And just to kind of, they're running in the background, but just so you're aware of what they are, this bottom unit is what we're using to split the signal and distribute it to our TVs out in the sanctuary. The unit above that is the one that we're using to distribute the video, or the camera feed actually, to the fellowship hall and to the nursery TV. The reason that these are unique is because This is computer only that we're showing on these displays. However, this one, we don't need to see the computer in the back, we need to see the camera. So this unit is actually distributing just the camera to those TVs back there. And then we've got a little 1-to-2 splitter up here that we needed to use to get enough inputs.